All right, kids. Happy Thursday to everybody. It's been a couple of weeks, and welcome back to the Miles and Points Report. We got a lot of excitement coming up today, and just a couple of housekeeping items that we wanted to mention first before we start going. We have our next online event is on for the virtual seminar, Frequent Travel University virtual seminar, also May 14th is the next one of those, and we are excited that the May 14th. Hang on, let me just turn on the volume on the back speaker here. Sorry about that. So for those who are members, it's the next complimentary online seminar. We've got a couple of really cool sessions there covering family travel, among others, with Ed Pizzarello and Marshall Jackson. We also got some of the big names in the industry as well. Plus, we're doing a session. I'm doing a session with Vegas luxury travel, how to do Vegas about being getting comped and all that stuff, being a gambler and that kind of stuff. So those are the two main sessions there, and I do believe Stefan has a couple of more speakers that are going to be speaking for the May 14th. We actually got a guy called Chris Elliott, and we got Sinitra Horbrook also with bank bonuses, and Chris Elliott is going to be talking about Chris Flyer, so a little bit inside of Singapore Airlines loyalty program. So that's the what's coming up there. All right, so exciting news this week with masks coming off on federal flights, and it seems to be a little bit. It seems to be like the CDC is kind of making a move a little bit now. And I asked Charles Kunz, who's our legal expert, to join me. Don't see him just yet, but we wanted to chat a little bit about that and just see how people feel about it and what to expect in the coming weeks. I saw yesterday, to be honest, was very busy yesterday. There's a lot of back and forth of what's going to happen next in this gig. But at the end of the day, we've seen a lot of photos on social medias in the last couple of days from our members and others, friends and family, and all frequent flyer bulletin boards and lefties and righties and all sorts of interesting people talking about the mask mandate. So it doesn't look like Charles is joining right now. So we're going to just see if we can speed things up a little bit and get Marshall to come on a little bit earlier, and we'll come back to the mask thing. I just texted with Charles a couple minutes ago. Oh, here he is. Morning or good afternoon, evening, counselor.
Good afternoon and evening to you too, sir.
It's only 3 o'clock here, but you've got the grill going for tonight, I assume.
Actually, my wife's got to go to some event, so I'm going to order pizza with my daughter from a place my wife hates and have a little party at home.
Okay, so you're taking advantage of that, so that's good.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's good. So we just started chatting a little bit about the what happened on Monday and the reactions we've seen out there and what we can expect from a legal perspective. So for not making this into what we've seen this week is a lot of pictures of the shackles and all that kind of stuff. Oh, my freedom and all those things. And, it is a pain in the ass, and it's been a pain in the ass for a long time. I'm not going to discount that. But, on the flip side of this, there are, ramifications and stuff. So let's not talk about that. I just feel like, a lot of positive stuff, a lot of, but what I've seen in the week being in the travel industry is that there is some movements I haven't seen since before the pandemic when it comes to bookings and people getting out there and availability and things like that. Prices on flights are already starting to come up. So those are, logical. It seems like a lot of people have been waiting for it.
Yes.
So, but what do you think? So what actually happened? Can you explain to me how can a judge in Mississippi or wherever she was No, Florida. How
Yep,
can a judge in Florida decide what happens to the mask mandate? For those who are not familiar with the systems, the legal system here in the U.S.
What was interesting about this case was a group that, ostensibly is about freedom from improper imposing of medical choice, took on a case of a couple plaintiffs who claimed that they had anxiety, and their anxiety was heightened when they wore the mask. And the airline wouldn't give them a medical exemption based on the anxiety. Therefore, they couldn't travel. Therefore, they sued. And this was, they filed it in Tampa. They clearly were looking for a sympathetic judge. And they found a woman, the judge there, who's, I'm 36. She's younger than me. Before she was appointed by President Trump, she had never tried a single case. So I tried more cases in my first month as a lawyer than she'd ever tried. And she had an opportunity to put herself on the national stage. I consider myself, pretty involved in what's going on in the legal world, and I'd never heard of her. And I would imagine most lawyers in Florida hadn't heard of her.
Right.
She got to write this 59-page opinion full of political grandstanding and made a name for herself. So this happens, and this whole running to the judiciary and is something we've been seeing more and more of in the last 10 or so years.
Right.
That when your party doesn't have control of the White House, as a check against them, you go ahead and go to federal court. So we saw it with immigration under Trump. We saw it with immigration under Obama. And now we're seeing it with some of these Biden issues. We're seeing it with immigration out of Texas and some other things. And we saw it here. And now the reaction to this we're seeing is that now that there's no longer a national rule, individual states and counties are now reacting. So I don't know if you saw, but there's just a breaking news report out of Los Angeles that Los Angeles County is now requiring masks on all transportation, including buses, subways, and airports. So your flight to LAX, you don't have to wear a mask, but as soon as you get in the terminal, you're supposed to wear it. And then if you take an Uber, you don't have to wear it, but if you get on the bus, you do. And the question is, A, is the TSA going to enforce that? Because or the gate agent's going to enforce it, or is the LA airport police going to enforce it? So now we're seeing political reactions. We saw one in New York State yesterday. New York State governor says masks in all transportation throughout New York State, buses, subways, airports.
Right.
And so now we're seeing confusion. And I think this is a natural reaction to, people from the other party being upset about this ruling. And this is the reaction. And meanwhile, the Biden administration has said they'll appeal. Now, they are not asking for a stay, which means they're not asking for the rule to be in place. They just want to appeal. And I think why they're doing it is they want the questions of law satisfied. Because this judge says the CDC overstepped her bounds. And I think the Biden administration says, well, we want to make sure they can in the future set rules like this. And we don't want this to be binding legal precedent. So they've kicked this to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta, which is traditionally a conservative court. The makeup of this court is more conservative than liberal. So it'll be interesting to see how this resolves. Right. But I think every day we're going to see more confusion.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. But I mean, in reality, if we take a step back from all this minutia and politics on both sides here, it's really not feasible to bring the masks back, is it? Without causing a massive outrage. I mean, do we see that as being realistic? What could be gained from that? I mean,
I agree with you. But, these days, a lot of politics is not about legislating or governing. It's about scoring points over the other side.
Right.
And that's
how could anybody score any points here, though? If Biden brings back, if the Biden administration brings it back, where do you score points there?
I think what they want to do is say that, hey, this Trump appointed judge overstepped her boundaries. And I do see some of the irony here. You often hear a big Republican talking point is they hate activist judges.
Right.
This is a great example of an activist judge.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I think the Biden administration is saying, look, we cannot have district court judges setting national policy and saying what the CDC and other agencies cannot do. And I agree with them. I think she did overstep her bounds.
Yeah, no. It's a funky system for people who come from any other countries that watch. I mean, as you know, I didn't grow up here, so it's really funky to see. So, and also I noticed now that we had 22 people watching, and we've lost almost all of them because people don't want to talk about masks anymore. So that's also another thing that's kind of interesting. The people are kind of sick of it, and I mean, I see the common sense in this. I mean, at the end of the day, if I'm sitting next to a lady who's 90 years old, and I don't want to get her sick, but I haven't had it, and I have done my fair share of traveling at full speed I've had in the last 3 months. So I do see that side of the story, but besides that, when you look at the numbers, it just doesn't to me. I don't know. And right now the doors are open, and we've started here, and then what are you going to come? So the Biden administration is going to go on the podium and say, "Hey, we're bringing back the masks." I don't know how that.
I don't think they can. I think that at this point, I think there'd be a riot, and I think it's already clear the airlines do not want to enforce this, and I don't think TSA does either. It's very hard to bring something back once it's been repealed. Yeah. But I think they want to bring back the powers of the CDC to set national policy in the future. Right. And I don't think that, because as long as this decision is out there, anyone can cite to it. It's good law. Right. So I think they want to slap it down and also send a message to this and future judges, like, guys, follow the law. Right. And don't make political decisions. So I think that's why they're doing it, and I agree with that. Right. But I don't want the masks to come back either.
No, there's that. And it's also the other thing is that we're pretty much, out of the Western world, we're pretty much the last country to do testing, right? When you come back to the US, you got to test still. And none of the European countries are doing that anymore. And to me, it just feels that's a big obstacle. And this was a big obstacle for some people traveling. I think that this is,
let's be honest, it's harder to sleep with a mask on for sure.
But I mean, I don't think that if you have a mask on in the business class seat, or if you do it or not, I don't think that I don't see they haven't really. I mean, I've taken maybe 5 or 6 trips across the Atlantic, round trips, since the pandemic started. They kind of don't stop by when you're laying down with your blanket.
No, that's true. That's true.
They leave you alone and let you sleep, and they don't want. They don't like this job. It's not something that flight attendants get paid for. So. No. It's an extra job, and it's an uncomfortable one. I've seen some out there that it fairly enjoys the power of telling you to pull your mask over your nose. I've seen that a lot, but at the end of the day, the vast majority don't. And people are they're getting their teeth knocked out and all sorts of other fun stuff. I think that I just wish that April 19 would have gotten here and they would have made that decision. That would have just.
I agree. I compared this to your team winning on a bases loaded wild pitch. Mm-hmm. That you're happy to have the W, but you don't like how you got it. Right. And I went to Washington yesterday. I came back this morning. Mm-hmm. It was nice. I could walk around the lounge without a mask on. Right. I didn't. And when I was flying up yesterday, a flight attendant walked by, and I unconsciously put my drink cup up to my mouth. And I was like, oh, I don't need to pretend I'm drinking to keep the mask off anymore. And it was nice, but the confusion, the reactions by states and counties, I think it's going to make for some interesting travel for the next few weeks.
Right. I agree. Well, I actually don't have anything going on in the next couple of weeks, so that's good, right? Since it seems like everybody's a little bit backed up today, why don't we? I know you stay a lot of hotels and stuff like that, and one of the things I wanted to talk to you about also today is the new IHG program. Did you have time to take a look at that? I know that Marshall did, but
I would say 3 words: it's about time.
Right. Well, yeah, it was. It was like, here's a credit card, here's your status, and it doesn't do anything. That was kind of the.
Well, I've been Spire since 2018,
right?
And it got me some more Kimpton upgrades, but it is frustrating that I have a ostensibly top tier status and I can't get breakfast,
right?
And it's so all it was getting me was more points and an occasional upgrade, and the upgrades have been less frequent the last couple of years. So it's nice that now it's more in line with the other statuses. Right. And I think their timing is good because Hilton has so badly degraded Diamond, especially in the U.S. I think it's good timing by IHG to say, hey, we've got a top tier now with better benefits.
Right. Let's bring in Marshall. I see he just logged on, and maybe you stick around and we'll go through the list of the benefits if you don't mind.
Sure.
You have time?
Yeah, I got time.
Sure. Hey there, Pilgrim.
Howdy now. What's going on?
Both Southern boys are on. Well, Charles is not a Southern boy to begin with. You are, but I'm sure you guys know each other, right?
We do, and I'm originally from just south of where Charles is now, a little town called Dunn. It's about
on
I-95.
Harnett County.
Harnett County. Although, I'm from the sticks. I'm really from Sampson County, but my address is Dunn.
There you go. And Charles is actually from, what are you from, like Brooklyn and Long Island?
Rye, New York, Westchester County.
Okay, Westchester County, so the fancy area. So yeah, and you moved to DC, and he moved to the sticks or whatever you were from. That's funny. All right, let's talk a little bit about this, because they've always been kind of lagging, and if we look at a decent overview of the other guys and what's happened right now, from what we're seeing with Marriott is just that they're dragging their feet on bringing back benefits that you're supposed to have. There are discussions. There are you gotta really go to bat to get some of the stuff you're supposed to. They have 32 brands and a lot of various breakfast benefits varies from a lot of these brands, and keeping track of what actually is the gig. You got to look it up because, the main guys you remember, but the brands you don't stay at that often, you got to look it up. And hotels interpret it differently. I saw a guy that was just staying at the JW in New York, the Essex House, which I always think has been a really downer of a place. I mean, that lounge they have in the lobby there where they stuff everybody together because they have to give you breakfast. That's not back, and that means that they think that they can't give you breakfast. And the upgrade was a view of the toilet or the dumpster in the back, or it was just it's always been kind of there's always that. But then you have Hilton's, who's, for some reason, for my benefit, I'm lifetime titanium with through SPG and also through Marriott. But for some reason, I just got for Hyatt, Hilton Diamond just showed up in my account last year. I got the cheapest credit, or the middle credit card, the one that's like $90, $95 a year. And you got to spend $40,000 on it in order to get Diamond status. But I spent about half that on an event we had in DC, and that was it. And I would say here the few stays I've had with Hilton has actually not been that bad. They've given me breakfast. They have given me waters when I check in, go in the pantry and get you a little treat or whatever. And here are your breakfast vouchers. In Dallas, we were there a couple weeks ago. They gave me even comp parking. It was like, here's a coupon for the parking. Just they have all these fancy new things where you put in a code in an app and you register, or not in an app, you go to a website, you put in a code, and then it tells you that you put in your license plate for your rent-a-car and whatnot. And that was comped. It wasn't a lot. It was like $8 a night, but still, free stuff. And I thought that was kind of cool. And he showed me the top floor of the hotel. We don't have any suites at this property. It was an HGI. He was like, which one do you want? I said, I'll take the one on the corner. Yeah, sure. We'll get it for you. So it was
HGI has long been a real sweet spot for Diamond.
Right.
They get the breakfast. Sometimes you get their equivalent of a suite, but it's a nice step up from Hampton Inn, and they do look after Diamonds. I think that was a good choice of a stay there.
Right. And then we have, Hyatt is Hyatt. There's not enough of them. So that's the only pain point there. If there were Hyatts everywhere, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And then you have IHG. And I will admit, they ended up on my shit list here, a couple of you, in the beginning of the pandemic. I had a stay booked with, I always buy the ambassador status because that weekend coupon, it gives us a nice stay at the Intercontinental in Monterey, the one at the Clements. That's right on the pier there. Really cool place. You get to sit on your balcony and check out the pelicans and stuff when they fly by. It's a cool place. And the hotel closed in May of 2020. So they canceled my stay. And I said, hey, when can I, it's closed. And they said, can we rebook it? Well, we don't know when it's going to open again. And I said, so my coupon is going to expire with my membership in July. and they let it expire, and they literally ripped me off and didn't want to rebook that hotel. And it was like, I called them when it expired. I said, we're kicking the can down the road for all members until November, till you have to pay again, but your coupon is lost. And then I called an overseas call center, and I appealed it. But closed hotel, and they did that. So maybe looking at the list here, though, and you are both what is it called, like Inner Circle or for Kimpton?
Yes.
So Marshall, you stay at Kimpton's a lot. I mean, that's your favorite brand, isn't it?
Back in my traveling days, pre-pandemic, it certainly was. Still is my favorite. But let's face it, I've been off the road a bit for the last couple of years.
What's your favorite Kimpton property?
I'll tell you, my most frequently stayed property prior to the pandemic was the Sir Francis Drake in San Francisco, which is now closed and is reopening as the Beacon Grand June 30th, but is no longer a Kimpton.
Is it going to be affiliated with anybody?
As far as I know, I don't think it is. I think it's going to be independent.
That's unfortunate.
It is, and it was the most convenient for me for work out there.
Great bar too.
Yeah, it's but hey, I'm staying at the Grand Hyatt for my first business trip to San Francisco of I'll call it the post-COVID shutdown era. Heading out there soon.
Yeah. So what's so good about the Kimpton stuff? Tell me a little bit about that.
I personally, I enjoyed the, sort of individual attention. They paid attention to your individual preferences. I was almost always upgraded to a suite at a Kimpton, or at least a very decent room. I appreciated the welcome amenity. I appreciated the personalized note from the GM or the front desk, little things like that. They always took great care of me, but I went out of my way to interact with them on social, I'll admit, but they're good about that thing. I miss the old Kimpton. I came to IHG via Kimpton. It wasn't the other way around.
So the Kimpton's program is now discontinued.
Inner Circle has not. It's IHG rewards, but the Inner Circle status still exists. As far as I know, it will exist at least for the immediate future.
So you've got ambassador status, you have Inner Circle status, and now you've got IHG One Reward is what it's called. They didn't think that it was a good idea to just clunk them all together, I guess, huh?
Probably so. I mean, they've got a lot of brands too, not quite Marriott level.
Right. Right. All right. So let's take a peek here, see what we're talking about, because they're actually, there's some serious stuff going on in here. You're getting some benefits that are, kind of, so let's get to the tiers first. So when you get the credit card, you get the Platinum Elite, right? That's the one that I have. And I think that when you also get ambassador status for $200, you also get Platinum Elite, right? Is that right? Or am I wrong here?
I believe it is Platinum.
Yes.
Right. So the rollover nights, I don't think that will happen before. That's new, right?
Yeah, that's new.
So meaning that, it's like Delta. If you don't get enough to get the silver status or gold status or whatever, it rolls over until next year, the difference in the tiers, which is kind of a cool gig. But, in the day and age where hotel status kind of has been given out a lot lately, it's another way to, get a higher percentage of members here. So no blackout days for rewards nights. I think that's been there for a while. It's just that it costs more points to get gigs like right there. So reward night discounts, is that like that goes into for both platinum and diamond? Is that like a off-peak awards? Is that what we're talking about? Or it's the one where you paid 5,000 points back in the days for where you would get the Intercontinental in Kenya for like a month or something for 150,000 points.
I think it's kind of like the United. They say you have access to more discounted awards as a platinum or a 1K, I think it's something they say, but in practicality, you just don't see it as much.
Right. And then for Diamond, you have dedicated Diamond support, which
we'll see.
Well, I got to tell you, even Hyatt, you will have a dedicated Hyatt line, but it's after the pandemic hit, they laid off a lot of the good people that were there earlier. So I'm not going to lie, it's the quality of I try not to call so much, to be honest with you. All of these people, if I don't have to call, I don't want to call. Is that something that you think is common, or?
Well, I call airlines all the time. I cannot remember the last time I called a hotel's general number. You'll call a hotel to say, hey, I'm coming in at 1 a.m. Don't give my room away, or I need the shuttle.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you call the hotel. I agree. When you call the property.
I don't know if I've ever called a hotel's program.
Well, with Hyatt, you have to, because when you're going to apply your Suite Night Awards, you got to call them, right?
That's true. I guess I did do that when I was Hyatt Diamond. Right. I think I had to call Hilton Diamond over a missing stay last year. And it was an absolute disaster. Outsourced call center guy could not understand what I was saying. I was saying, I'm missing a stay. And he's like, you have 13 stays. I'm like, that's nice. I should have 14.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I called a hotel program.
Yeah, I mean, also airlines, I kind of don't. I just try not to. It depends. If the IT requires me not to call, prevents me from calling, I'm not calling. I mean, it's not an enjoyable thing. It's like, going to the dentist. If there's I think I call American for.
You obviously don't fly enough Delta, because Delta, if you want to apply a regional or a global upgrade certificate, the only way to do it is to call.
Right, and same goes for American with the system wides.
Yeah.
But United, you kind of don't have to. It's the only thing, if you want to do the, I guess you can also technically do the copay thing here also without doing anything. It's actually true. Well, let's look at here what else we've got. So we've got 72 hours. So it's welcome amenity at check-in. So that's where it kind of becomes interesting, right? Points or drink/snacks for low life platinums like me, and then free breakfast, points, or drink snack for diamonds. And diamond is 70 nights a year or 120,000 qualifying points,
which is what I believe Spire was before the pandemic.
Right.
Last year they had reduced requirements. I think you could get Spire with 55 nights or a reduced amount of points.
Right. So what? So the Hilton Garden, not Hilton, Holiday Inn Express and those lower end brands, they don't have, the breakfasts are included, but the breakfast is included. And then you have, Crown Plaza, where they do have some decent ones in Europe, right?
And Asia.
Yeah. And I would say that's a pretty decent selling point right there, because that could be like 30 euros a head.
Absolutely.
Well, and also this might make, if you're in a situation where you can pick a Holiday Inn or a Holiday Inn Express, you might say to yourself, hey, I'll do the Holiday Inn Express because I'm getting the breakfast. But now you might say, if the Holiday Inn is located better and it's coming with breakfast and maybe an amenity, I can have a drink at the bar. That might move the needle to stay at more Holiday Inns.
Right. Because here's the thing, though. The last time I stayed at a Holiday Inn was actually in Harbin, China. And not only did they give us free breakfast as platinum, they also gave us access to a club. Do they have club lounges? Do I remember that right?
In Asia, you could have a courtyard with a club lounge. Right. It's such a different animal there. I stayed at the Crown Plaza Fukuoka in 2016. I was a third-year law student making $35,000 a year as a delivery driver. And I had my IHG credit card for $49 annual fee at the time. They were so impressed I was platinum. They had somebody follow me to the elevator who bowed to me while the elevator doors shut and stayed bowed until they shut.
That's cool. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, you get more value. And the room probably cost jack.
Oh, yeah, it was cheap. And they had a lounge. They had, it was a great experience. And you come back here, you stay at Crown Plaza in the U.S. It's a former Sheraton, former DoubleTree in a bad location with like mildew.
Right. So complimentary breakfast is available at all properties other than service and limited brands that already offer breakfast, and at Candlewood Suites, Holiday Inn Club Vacations, select Kimpton properties, and the Intercontinental Alliance Resorts, which is Vegas and Macau. So that means that when you're staying at the Intercontinental, you also get free breakfast.
That's a big difference, because even
No
if
kidding.
you pay for the ambassador, you don't get breakfast.
Yeah, you pay $200 a year, you don't get them. But
That's
they do give you mini bar
major
stuff.
change.
I mean, last time I stayed at an Intercontinental was right before the pandemic in London. They gave me a suite, and they gave me, I think, was it £35 to spend in the mini bar?
Nice.
Something like that. It was
That's
significant.
not bad.
I got a buzz from that. So, so that's obviously a biggie, that you can get a buzz, and you can go down and have breakfast after your buzz. Okay, so here we go. Platinum Elite and Diamond Elite members can stretch their points further with exclusive access to discount promotions on reward nights or nights they book with IHG One reward points, subject to eligibility.
I think on that one, we're just going to have to wait and see how it's practicality. The fact that they've got subject to eligibility in there, I feel they should probably underline it like 4 times, because I feel they're going to be saying, oh, it's subject to eligibility, and now why?
Right. So here also, so now platinum members are eligible for early checking in addition to diamond. So Spire, that was a Spire benefit before. Now low life platinums like me can check in early. I can show up at 6 a.m. and demand a room.
It's also saying a late checkout up to 2 p.m., which is better than it was, but that still puts you on the same level as Hyatt Discoverist.
Right.
So,
and also it's based on availability, subject to availability also. Look at that.
Yeah.
So I guess they just added it to, what is this, club member? It's 2 p.m. checkout for everybody.
Right. So I don't think we'll be seeing too much of that.
Yeah, it's the same. That's weird. I don't understand why they couldn't differentiate with too many things for the employees to remember, or but yeah, so here we were talking about the elite rollover nights. Elite are a way for gold, platinum, and diamond members to earn elite status faster. Platinum elite, diamond elite, beginning early June. Gold elite members can earn status by rolling extra qualifying nights over to next year. So that means that if you are gold, you had your 20 nights and you have, say, 35, and you didn't make it up to platinum, you start off with 15 the next year. That's
As
how do we agree on that?
Similar to Delta.
Yeah. Do we agree that's the way they're going to do it?
I think it is.
Yeah. But here, suite upgrades. Platinum and diamond members should see more complimentary suite upgrades in the future, as IHG intends to move to more clearly communicate with this benefit to members in the future and track how well properties follow up. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how soon to the first Flyer Talk post? They were still selling suites and they wouldn't upgrade me.
Yeah, no kidding. That is and also in that Marriott insider group. Oh my goodness, these guys they found the text function where you can text the hotels in the app in advance. My goodness, there are a lot of crappy one night stays that are getting nagging about that. I can't believe it. You're a business stay. You're there texting back and forth. Oh, I see this is available. Oh my goodness. Well, anyways, but here's what's more interesting, right? The milestone rewards, which is very popular with airlines. Both United and I don't know about Delta, but United and American has, when you hit various milestones. Hyatt also has a milestone gig where you get some goodies after a while. And I would say this is pretty cool. I mean, you get a complimentary suite upgrade, which a confirmable suite upgrade is already at 20 nights.
Well, Hyatt does these milestone rewards too.
They do.
And their 20-night one is club access awards, even if you're globalist, so you can't use it. But getting a confirmable suite night upgrade at 20 nights that's really generous.
Right. And that's the gig for gold. And also what they're doing here is the same thing as Hyatt. In order you have dead members in the program, right, that are not really using it. They have the status from ambassador. They got a status from something else. And they're not really, same thing as Hyatt. It's also, you have to stay the 60 nights in order to get ambassador, in order to get that free category 7 night, in order to get the free upgrades and all that stuff, which is cool. And they're doing the same thing. And I kind of support this. The people who are out there spending cash, they should be the ones who are getting rewarded. So and 20 nights to get your first confirmed suite upgrade. Not sure how that's going to work, but that is substantial.
One thing I find interesting about IHG is you can qualify by nights or points.
Right.
And they let you, let's say you're booking a rate and they have the rates that are 1,000 bonus points or 5,000 bonus points. Buying those rates, the bonus points actually count towards status.
Mm-hmm.
And it's often sold at a real discount. So it's a good way to pad your account to get towards status.
Right. But I think that you actually have to have nights here in order to get.
And I think that's smart because there are people who are going to make diamond through credit card spend,
right?
Because all points count there, and maybe padding with these points purchases. So this way, IHG can say, hey, well, let's reward our segment warriors too, who are going out there and saying 60, 70 nights, in addition to the guys who just put everything on their credit card.
Right. And that's a great point. So that's actually better than Hyatt, because Hyatt, you can spend your way up to 60 nights easily. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would say half of the nights that I have this year comes from credit card debt, and I'm 60% done for the year. But at 40, things are starting to happen, and that's the level that the thing. So you can choose two of the following at 40. So you get the annual lounge membership, which means that, as a platinum, you are a platinum that has stayed 40 nights. You are able to get your annual lounge memberships. Do we know in practicality how they're going to solve that? Or do you get like a membership card or like an airline club, or how does that work?
I wonder. We don't know. And I think it'll be interesting when you get to some hotel that's just not familiar with this. And you'll get some check-in agent who's like, but you didn't buy a club lounge rate. Right. And you'll have to argue. So I foresee some good posts in the future about that.
Right. And you get also the second choice you get is the confirmable suite upgrades also. So you get two of those at 40, which is, pretty cool. Then you've got some food and beverage rewards happening at 50 and 60, not too exciting. And then you get up to 70, and then you get two choices again. You get two more suite upgrades. That lounge membership, if you didn't choose that earlier, I assume you can try and choose it again. So I think that at that point, when you're at 70, I think that the way to go, I don't think that 10,000 bonus points or 5 soda pops I would assume that the choices at 40 would be the membership, lounge membership, and the confirmed suite upgrade. And when you get to 70, you get the two confirmed suite upgrades again.
Yeah.
All right. And then, the one, and I find it a little bit strange that when you do 80, 90, and 100, it's just, there's nothing more exciting. I mean, where's the free night?
Well, especially as 10,000 IHG points are both not worth that much and are not that hard to earn or buy. So you do 100 nights, and wow, I can get 10,000 bonus points or some food and beverage rewards. Big deal. Right.
Because this status is tough to get. 100 nights, you got to actually stay there. Or whatever.
And that's a third of the year at IHG properties. That's commitment.
Right. No kidding.
All of us need more food and beverage.
Here we go.
Awards.
Here's the description. Each food and beverage award is worth $20 and must be used during a stay. So up to a 15-year-old Scotch, maybe probably a 12-year-old Scotch will be enough, or 3 Coca-Colas. And then you've got confirmable suite upgrades. This is interesting. Members can use suite upgrades to upgrade a stay of up to 5 nights, not up to 7 like Hyatt. An upgrade must be applied by contacting the IHG One Rewards from 14 to 1 day before the stay. So it's only 2 weeks before, huh? Okay. Upgrade to a standard type suite, but a premium room can also be confirmed in case the suite is not available. So, wow, that's, it's, the whole thing with the Hyatt thing is that I booked the Park Hyatt Vendôme in November right now, and I go there in November, and right now I get it confirmed. So now if the hotel's wide open, 2 weeks before, who knows what's going to happen.
And it's interesting. They're capping at 5 nights too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you probably, it's, whether you're going to be using these, it's, yeah. All right. The members can choose annual lounge membership at 40 or 70, valid for the rest of the year and the following year. So what if you lose status, though? That's interesting.
I think if you get to 40 nights, it'd be hard to lose the status, wouldn't it?
That's true. But you could be, yeah, that's true. Of course, that's you will have qualified for that. So that's good. So you have it throughout when you have, of course, that makes sense. 40 and 70 nights. Here are the two which they do. So the 20 nights confirmed suite upgrade. Yep, they doing the same exact thing that we said. It's worth $100. Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, we're okay. So let's see what they're saying about the. So that confirms what I said earlier. The Kimpton Inner Circle program will still be around. And what's the qualification there? You have to do.
It's a secret, Tommy. It would most recently you had to obtain Spire, so Diamond 1, and then there's probably some super secret, super duper revenue commitment. Mm-hmm. Just before the pandemic, I'll say, well, the year before I did make Spire the following year, but the year before I didn't quite qualify for Spire, but I still kept Inner Circle, probably because I was staying at Kimpton's exclusively.
Yeah. So how do we rate this to conclude with this stuff? How do we rate IHG 1 rewards now compared to the other guys? Who's on top and who's on the bottom here? If we were to take the 5 big guys.
I'll defer to Marshall first.
I feel like, and I haven't done the whole top to bottom study of the new IHG program yet. I feel like it's actually improved a bit, but I guess Hyatt's probably on top still. Hilton after that perhaps, and Marriott at the bottom, and then you can mishmash here. Whoever's left in between. Just my opinion.
I'm going to put, well, it depends what you're looking for. If we're talking about elite treatment, let's put Hyatt number 1. If we're talking about location matters to you plus elite treatment, I'll put Marriott at 1. So I would say Marriott, Hyatt are 1, 2, depending on what's more important to you. I would say Hilton was 3, but they've gutted Diamond so much. If we're just talking domestic, I think this could put IHG above Hilton. We'll have to see how it rolls out and how it works. But they've got a chance in my mind to move ahead of Hilton. Because I've had so many issues with this new food credit. Upgrades are non-existent in the U.S. as Diamond. Hilton has shut down almost every lounge in the U.S. and has no plans to reopen them. So if you're only traveling in the U.S., IHG's got the footprint, and now they're making it more attractive to be Diamond. We'll see.
Right. I think I'm gonna, I'm a little surprised that you are not that you put Marriott up that high. I mean, I've had the experiences that I've had with Marriott lately has been very disappointing. I've been a Titanium since it was Platinum Premier since the end of 2018, and I've been happy. They're everywhere I want to stay. I'm do pretty well with suite night upgrades. They haven't messed around with breakfast. They've got a lot of lounges reopened in the U.S., which has meant a lot to me. And, as somebody who travels to a lot of secondary and third-tier cities, I can usually find a Marriott property, and that's important to me. Yeah, I hear you. That's what they have going for them, for sure, is the availability of stuff. I'm gonna say that we're gonna have to wait and see how they're gonna deliver on these benefits, because that'll be a big one, right? And how it's going to be, what in practice it means for all of us, because we nobody knows yet. I'm going to wait to pass judgment till that. But at the end of the day, I mean, on paper, they have suite upgrades that are confirmable 2 weeks in advance. Marriott has the 3 days or the 5 days before that you get it when you are 50 at 5 at 55 at 75. So there is that. But at the end of the day, though, I think that on the West Coast, Marriott has been shady to say the least, and much more so than the Hilton ones that we've seen. And I just feel like, there's too much confusion, and there's too much. They also have, you're talking about the food and beverage credit. In reality, that's the same thing that they're doing at Courtyards, which is about half of their portfolio, right? And then you have, Residence Inn and those type of properties, Fairfield Inn and Suites, that has breakfast included regardless in styrofoam, but still it's there. And I feel like it's just the saddest thing. I don't have the picture available. I had it for last week when we got late. We took too long to talk about this stuff. But the Residence Inn in Marina Del Rey was $450 a night for each room. We were there for business, and I used up Melinda's last category 1 through the 35,000 ones, right? So we had 3 of rooms that were there for business, and the breakfast was a burrito and a wrapped in plastic, like a egg cup crappy thing wrapped in plastic, and they put them in the fancy, the ones you open up, and they were inside of the thing, and it was like so pathetic. It was just the saddest thing ever, and that's like a month ago. So, but anyway, so I would say I'm going to wait to pass judgment. I'm going to be giving Marriott a little bit of hell because they just have disappointed me, and they're just I think it's very, like you said, Charles, it's very property dependent or geographically dependent where you are. I'm sure that if we go to Europe, Marriott is the way to go. And also, there's all these aspirational properties that they have, right? There's so many cool hotels in their portfolio, but then again, also they have dramatically changed their program, so it's going to cost you.
I can say that starting my honeymoon at the St. Regis in New York cost me 110,000 points, but it was worth every penny.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Best days I've ever had. My wife loved it. We had a butler, suite night upgrade cleared to a suite, and it was so worth the experience. And
cool.
You put in your time at the Courtyard, you can redeem the points for something like that. It helps, wash down a lot of bad stays.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3. I think that, I'm going to call it a tie between Marriott and IHG. I'm going to be testing it out. And, you're out there a lot, Charles. And also, Marshall, you've got some stays coming up. Let's make sure that we get a little feedback on how this actually works. Keep an eye on the various Facebook groups and Flyer Talk and see how this plays out. I think that's and it's always great to have your insight both on legal stuff and also being a road warrior out there practicing all that legal stuff, Charles. So thanks for stopping by and getting your insights, and we'll see you next time. And thanks for wow, there's supposed to be 10 minutes, and here we are, 45 minutes. Enjoy your evening.
I'm going to head home and have a drink.
Yeah, I hear you.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
All right. So
what's happening?
What is happening? Well,
I'm having a drink now.
You're having a drink. Yeah, I'm not in drink territory just yet because it's only 3:45 here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rudy forgot to dial in today as well. I talked to him this morning. I just that's what you can do when you're an old guy. You're like you see that guy, he's backing out of the driveway. I'm backing out. You better. I
wonder if he's watching us just to see if we talk about.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about cell phones and roaming and stuff.
Oh,
right?
Yay!
And that's when I used to have a real job. I used to work in that industry.
Right.
When I was up in the morning and shaved and put a suit on and that kind of travesties. But that's what I used to do. So, roaming and stuff has always been kind of a pain in the butt, and traveling and things like that. What do you do, Marshall, when you travel overseas?
Honestly, I'm on Verizon. It works well in DC. You pay the $10 when you leave the country or whatever it is a day. I forget what they call it. It has a name. It's simple enough. It works. And I don't spend as much time as I used to outside the country anyway, obviously. But hopefully that'll change this year. That
will change.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I kind of had the same strategy, but I changed to AT&T. I was with Google Fi for a while, just mostly to check it out and to try and see what, take advantage of the various things. They don't have any roaming plans, but they've kind of been very expensive. And where we live right now, I literally have one bar with T-Mobile, which is the carrier that they're on. So that's why I mostly turn away. And also they don't support iPhones. And Google Fi doesn't support iPhone. They're like kind of the delusional arrogance that Google can show sometimes, and Netflix can show sometimes.
Oh yeah,
Netflix has just thinks that they got this thing over their head and thinking that there's no competition out there. It's still 2011, and raise the prices after you've had a big boost during a pandemic. Right. It's the same thing here. I feel like Google Fi, that they don't support. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but they don't support 5G on anything on iPhones. If you're outside of the phones that they provide, if you're on an iPhone, which is 58% of Americans who have smartphones, they have an iPhone. Sure. So you're excluding 58%. They're not delivering 5G to these guys.
Yeah, I thought about fiddling with Google Fi, but that's what turned me off. I'm like, because I have an iPhone.
Right, and that's, I kind of knew it. It kind of started when you still get 4G and it worked fine. It was some countries where the tech, you got to manually kind of override the iPhone stuff. But we saw this week, we saw an article in USA Today. So our friend Chris Elliott, he's kind of our ombudsman, if we will, which he likes to help us out when people are mean to us and things like that.
When we get in trouble.
When people get in trouble, my rent-a-car had, I didn't crash it, but they say that I did, and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. There's a certain amount of handiness in that.
Right. So, I mean, I guess he has been overseas. He writes a column in USA Today called Advice, and he's got an interesting, he has an interesting view on loyalty, and he doesn't understand it, and he doesn't see the dynamics of it. It's kind of, but there are other people that kind of has the same view as him. So I wouldn't say that he's an idiot. I would say that he just has a different view than industry specialists like us who follow this very closely. But he was outside and he got a note from Google Fi that your international data roaming will be suspending soon. He has been for how many months outside of the US? Did it say 5 months?
I think so. Yeah, it's quite a while.
Yeah. So, and it's really not. If you do this with T-Mobile, that will be the same thing happening to you there in such a short period of time. There are terms and conditions where they can do this. Absolutely,
and I think the Google Fi has the same, where they require you to spend the majority of time in the U.S.
Right. Yeah, and he says that it's expensive, and which it is. And I like AT&T because, first of all, they have better roaming partners than Google does.
Sure.
And you only pay up to 10 of that $10 a day thing. First of all, there's no cap, right? Like with Verizon, after 500 megs in a day, if you connect it to your laptop and you tether and you have big data going in and out, which sometimes I do, I remember
I can see you hitting that pretty.
He had a big file he needed to get up, and Verizon cut him off at 500 megs. After a day, and he was like, they weren't answering the phone. It was a pain in the butt. So with AT&T, you pay $100 per billing cycle is the maximum you pay. And the advantage of that over Google Fi is that Google Fi is 22 gigs. It's the maximum you can use in a month, which is a lot of data. Most people don't use that kind of data.
Sure.
But the second thing is that you can't make phone calls with that. You have to. You have to, if you want to call a hotel or if you want to call home or whatever, that costs you money. And it could be like 20 cents a minute or whatever, which with AT&T, and I also think with Verizon, I'm not 100% sure, but AT&T, you can call any country and text any country inside of their travel pass, right? So for $100, I'm not going to dick around with that stuff. And I guess, I see that, he's kind of pissed off that he was cut off, but he also says that he says that he spent $376 in the last month because he did data and he did all sorts of stuff, and on top of that, they're not cheap anymore. So I guess what we're gonna say, wow, USA Today. I'm not sure I want to subscribe to you guys, but that's okay. I think that right here. I think we should say that I don't think we should fault Google Fi for somebody being the majority of the time outside of the U.S. and not touching U.S. soil at all. There are other options, and Google Fi is just not cheap anymore, and the technical shortfalls that they have is just not good enough. So, Chris, if you're watching, which you probably aren't, but we're going to see you in a few months. Hopefully, we love Chris, and we hope he enjoys South Africa for the next few
Sure.
weeks. And we'll send you a SIM card if you need us. Just let me know, and we'll take care of it. All right. So, what else were we going to talk about today? We were going to talk a little bit about a new airline, Zip Air. Have you heard of them?
No.
Who is Zip Air?
I have not.
Not really a new airline. They started in December of last year is when they started. Let me share this tab instead here. Okay. Zip Air. So I didn't know about this guy. Lucky wrote about it last year, and I didn't pay attention because he writes, more than there are articles in the Wall Street Journal every day. So I just missed it. I Googled it after. It's 787s from ANA that I think it's ANA they came from. Basic travel, they have 4 of them, and they fly between LA and Narita. So it's not as convenient. You're out, out in the potato country outside of Tokyo. But the funny part here is that from LA, they got lie flat seats. So you have a low cost carrier that costs $250 one way from LA.
Hey.
$250. And all the other guys match that, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to Japan in December, but in October, Melinda and I are going there. But guess what? Look at that.
That's not so bad.
You got to pay $50 or $90 to get fed and to get drinks and premium drink package or whatever on board.
That's okay.
Round trip in lie flat business. And this to me looks like the American Airlines seat, doesn't it?
It does look kind of.
Or the Cathay seat. It looks exactly like, yeah. And, they charge you to, so here you go. Fees to change a seat or to reserve a seat, $18. I mean, so the cheapest we found, Melinda and I, round trip was about $4,000 on, of course, Haneda, but, for saving $2,700. I mean, I'll take the Narita Express.
Absolutely.
And then you pay for, let's see, here are the other fees that you have. Exit row, a little bit more, $73. Limited reclining seat, $6. Well, what's all right? I wanted to see how. So here's the seat map. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's got 5 rows of business class in a 1-to-1 configuration, and So the options we had, obviously they got their Point Club, which is their loyalty program. Not subpar points, but Zip Air points. You pay to be a member, 5,000 points a year, 5,000 yen a year, which is about how much is that? Like, let me look. I don't know, 5,000 yen. By $50, $40.
I used to know things like this, and
$38. Yeah, well, it varies. Like, so you pay $38, and what do you get for that? Discounts on the various fees I guess. You must, So looking at what you pay, if we were to book a one-way to LA, so if we do LA to Narita, one way, search flights. Where do you put the date in? One passenger, select date. I mean, it's in yen, but if you go to Google, you'll find the story here, right? But let's just take a random date here.
$290.
Yep, 131 for the Zip full flat.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
$1,000. But I mean, at the end of the day, I looked at Google for the dates that we're going, and also this is one way, right? We're talking one way, where the big guys are going to slaughter you for for doing a one-day way international, right? Narita, let me do this one instead. And we were going in October. See here, that's the price, $266. I'm paid $350 to fly to Chicago here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Good times. So let's just do a random date. So they have, there they are. Third place, $284. They're more expensive than Air Canada if you want to go through Vancouver, or the United flight that leaves, right before, and it also goes to Narita. But there are some Haneda flights. I didn't look for that. But if you go to business, there you have it, $896. That's how much that is.
I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, so think about it here. So the option we had, we looked at premium economy and using plus points to upgrade. So it's $687 one way. If we did a round trip on that in premium economy to use less, I'm just going to do a gig here. You got to, it's cheaper to fly the business class that they have. The Zippo one. 1656 for these days. The days that we found was 1400.
Yeah.
So that's business class round trip. Look at the other guys. I mean, I'd go to a deli or bring whatever, or pay $90 for that drink package. So what do you choose here? Do you bank on getting that plus point upgrade, paying the same price, or what do you do? It's a little bit of a conundrum. We haven't made up our minds yet. What do you think?
If I absolutely needed some United status points or whatever they call them nowadays, I might think about United. Otherwise, if I could assure myself a lie flat seat for that price, I think that's what I do. Right.
No, that's that. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that you're right. But I got my lifetime status, so yeah. I honestly don't really care about that. I have the same level I have now, so I would venture into saying that what we're seeing, I'm leaning towards. I mean, we found some award space on Singapore Airlines going back for 60,000 miles. So I think that you can do that. That obviously is you can fly over for $800 and then you can take the miles going back. Yeah. But I don't think that, the downside to this, if we get the United Premium Economy, if on the day flight, I'm okay flying premium economy. It's 11 hours, right? Sure. A little bit less than 11 hours. And I would then rather, if you are going to be in the ANA has got 2 rows with 232 on the 7-8. And which is a small exclusive cabin. They got champagne, it's good food and all that kind of stuff. And they also have a leg rest where you can actually put your feet up, not the ones that are kind of the ones that are pointless, that when you put them up, then you put your feet on and the whole thing just collapses, right? But no, I don't know. It's miles and points. How much are they worth to you? I mean, I would venture into saying that the confirmable business class seat is more to me than
for a flight that long. I think it is.
All right.
Absolutely.
So if you missed it, it is what is the website here for them? It's called Zip Air. And and they've got business class to go to zipair.com. Zip Air. I just had a window open here for crying out loud. Let's see what the zipair.net. They went all out getting a new domain there. So I think that's a good alternative from LA. I think, and I honestly, I'm on the fence. We'll see what we end up doing, and but I feel like it's I feel like it's a good alternative.
No, I do too.
Absolutely. So last thing we had, and we're a little bit over time, so we're going to make it wrap it up really quickly. The last thing we wanted to talk about is that it was very quiet after the naysayers started screaming about that 777, the Air France 777. But I'm not going to let that one go because I know I'm right. It happens. The clock is right and all that gig every once in a while.
Sure.
But we are getting some leaks here out of the French. Somebody
leaned on a button.
Yep. Somebody leaned on a button 4 times.
Yeah.
The good thing about a modern plane. The good thing about a more modern plane is, everything you do is being recorded.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? What is the toga switch?
Takeoff go around. It's a button you push that will take the engines to max power or whatever you set, and basically it's to help set the airplane to go around. You also use the same thing when you take off. You stand the throttles up, you push the button, and then they take them to takeoff power.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have actually sat in the cockpit of a 777 simulator. I do not remember exactly where the toga button is on the airplane. Usually on the throttle quadrant somewhere.
Right.
Feel like it may be somewhere different on this airplane, but I'm not sure.
Maybe they, so you're thinking they had like a baguette on a plate that they were putting down there? Or...
Could be. Never know.
Yeah, so what it says here, the La Tribune is a French newspaper, and they said that there are indications there were no technical problems with the airplane. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is the reference that the aircraft responded appropriately to the commands of the flight crew, which means that I've never heard of anybody hitting that button 4 times. Were they doing it maybe because nothing was happening, which I find very hard to believe.
That could be. That's entirely possible.
Well, looking at the timeline of this thing, everything that happened from when the plane supposedly went on its own until they started climbing, it was less than 60 seconds.
Yeah.
So they wasn't out of control very long, or out of control. It wasn't out of control.
Nah.
French dudes leaning elbows on the toga button.
Who knows? Hopefully they didn't pour a Coke or something onto the center console or anything, which has happened before too.
Hopefully it wasn't a wine bottle.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I think that it ended well, and to me it feels like it was I think that Boeing should get a pass on this. I think that we should acknowledge that that mistakes happen, and that's cool. And well, not cool, but it makes mistakes happen. It's just to learn from those mistakes. I think that's the.
Absolutely. And they are still analyzing the data. So we'll see. Something may come out of it. But I expect somebody inadvertently pushed something and didn't realize what they were doing.
Right.
And,
it reminds me of that. It reminds me of that. So you remember the video, the picture I sent to you the other day? I mean, let me just show you this gig here because I thought that was that cracked me up a little bit. Let me share this tab instead. So maybe like that, how the world really ends.
I think that's one of our cats. That's baby girl.
That's one of your cats. And maybe that's the toga button.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for stopping by. It's fun as always. This is a good time. Every other Thursday, we horse around with making fun of the French, and all of us poorly groomed today. Charles wins the Lumberjack Award of the week. I come in second place because you look like you groomed yourself a little bit there. I did not.
I did trim the beard a bit.
It did, yeah. I'm going to trim mine too. It's going to be like this long. Yeah. AKA, I'm going to shave today. But thanks so much for stopping by, Marshall, and you can go back to Zumba class.
Talk soon.
All right. See you in a couple of weeks.
You bet.
Cheers. All right, everybody. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. I can't believe there's 14 people actually watching right now after a whole hour of horsing around. I appreciate it. And Thank you to our new YouTube supporters. We've gotten quite a few extra new ones in the last few weeks. Glad that you appreciate the show from now on, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And enjoy your weekend wherever you are, with or without a mask. Thanks, everybody. And I promise this is the last time we're going to be talking about masks on the show. Enjoy your weekend.